It's fertility week on Channel Mum this week, so I thought I would do the topic of fertility because, you know, I've got some skills over the years. This could be a long one, however, so grab yourself a nice drink, get comfortable, because we could be here a while. It's alright, I'll wait. Go make drinks. Personally, I like coffee, but, you know, whatever works for you. Ready? Minor warning. A little bit gross in places and may not be for everyone. Possibly not ideal to watch around small humans. Oh, actually, maybe the small humans are okay. You know, the medium-sized ones, they might not like this. I do talk about spending time in yourself for fertility reasons. So, yeah, you've been warned. One of the most common ways to track your fertility is by using ovulation predictor kits. Now, this is a mid-range price for the most part. You do end up buying ovulation test sticks and packs, and there are high-end ones from places like Clear Blue, but then there are the cheaper ones that you can get on eBay and Amazon, and I personally think they're a really good investment because you can buy hundreds of them and like pee several times a day. Because one of the best things to do when you're doing an OPK before you know what you're doing as you're learning is to pee on a lot of sticks. Pee on all the sticks. Get yourself a designated pee cup. I have 2 of them, the kids know not to touch those. And dip a stick a lot as you're gearing up to ovulation. Now the trick with an OPK is to know how to read one. It's not like a pregnancy test. Having 2 lines doesn't really mean anything. They will almost always have 2 lines. Now the results line is the line nearest to where the urine is absorbed on the test stick. And the next line along is the control line, and that needs to be showing to show the test has worked. And then the results line is your actual results, hence the name results line. I know it's pretty simple, but sometimes you feel the need to actually throw this stuff out there. And what you want with an OPK is the results line has to be as dark or darker than the control line. And that's the trick. Having 2 lines, as I said, doesn't really mean anything. So make sure you have the correct sort of results before you get overly excited. And if you're unsure, you might want to confirm with things like the Clear Blue smiley sticks because they're pretty foolproof. You either have a smiley face or you don't. You can't really go wrong. So they're really handy, but once you know what your cheap sticks look like, you can stop confirming with the smiley face, save yourself a bit of money maybe. It's completely up to you. The things to note also with OPKs is you do not use your first morning urine. No. You have to give it a couple of hours for the luteinizing hormone to build up in your urine. So you want to test mid-morning. I also find, as I said, pee several times a day and test throughout the day because some people have a very short window where they get positive. So then you get the next problem where it gets really close to positive and then it goes to negative again. And people are like, did I miss ovulation? Has it not happened? And the answer is, for me, sometimes it's because you just miss that window. Maybe you're going to have a positive test for 2 hours, and if you don't dip in that 2 hours, you are not going to see the positive. And other people, you have what's called ano-ovulation, where your body gears up to ovulate and then it doesn't quite work, so it drops back down, it gears up, and you release an egg later on in the month, or you just don't release an egg that month. That is generally down to like the quality of the follicle and if the egg is fully matured. What most people don't realise is you are born with millions of eggs, but each month several eggs, some people have like 20 eggs and follicles start to mature, and like only 1 or maybe 2 were actually released, and the others all sort of degrade and get reabsorbed into your system, but they're gone. So you could be losing like 20 eggs a month because of the way your body works. And that's also why people can get polycystic ovarian syndrome, because a lot of them, the follicles will grow, but instead of actually sort of disappearing, they turn into cysts, and that can cause problems. So don't be too discouraged. If it goes negative, you may have missed it, possibly, but it may just be you need to track it for another week and you'll find a second positive, and ovulation will just be a little bit later in the month. Another way to use pee sticks, which is a slightly more costly way, is to get a fertility monitor. Now, Clear Blue have got 2 different kinds, and there are also very, very expensive ones where you use saliva, and you can put like vaginal things in. They're expensive. Google will help you here. They can be amazing, especially if you are planning your first child and you're thinking, well, actually we'd like 2 or 3 kids. It can be quite cost effective. You can buy secondhand fertility monitors online as well. And they're very, very simplistic, but they can be kind of expensive because you have to buy a lot of pee sticks that are specifically for the machine. But it does take a lot of the confusion and stuff out of it, because with the latest Clear Blue one, not only can you track fertility, but you can also take a pregnancy test with it up to 4 days before your period is due, which personally makes me want one so badly if I do surrogacy again, just because I'd have so much fun with that. I really would. A slightly obscure one which follows on a little bit from fertility monitors is saliva patterns. Yes, this is a thing. People can use a microscope and check their saliva in a microscope, and if it's got a fern leaf pattern, it's an indicator of ovulation. Now, this is not something I've done because I lost my microscope many moons ago, but it's something I would recommend you look into if you're interested. Maybe something to teach your teenagers as they're getting older and they're doing science at school. It can be quite fun to check out how your saliva changes throughout the month. It's just not something I could massively guide you on because I've not done it myself. Now, we're getting to the kind of gross ones here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is cervical positioning. Now, as most of you know, you have your vagina, which is the tube, and then at the top you've got that real ring of muscle, quite hard. It's the neck of the uterus, and it's kind of like the gateway to the uterus. It's closed up, it's a bit deadly, it's a basic sperm killing site. It's like the Hunger Games for semen. It kills off, or the idea is it kills off a lot of the weaker ones and the slower ones because it's acidic and lumpy and bumpy and just like terrifying. Kind of like, you know, the magical gateway in the Never-Ending Story where if you're not ready the Sphinx will blast you and you have to go through various tests. That's a cervix for sperm. So it's sort of designed to be the survival of the fittest for sperm, to give you the optimum and healthiest embryos. So it's incredibly helpful, and it can actually be quite a good guideline of how to check your fertility. Now, when you are fertile, you will be what's classed as SHO, which is soft, high, open and wet. So firstly, throughout most of the month, your cervix will change how it feels. So firm is like the tip of your nose, it's quite firm, but when it's soft, it's like your lips. If you poke these two down, I can imagine some of you going like, oh yeah, it's different. You'll notice this with your cervix, but it does involve spending a lot of time inside yourself, poking for a couple of months to figure out how your body changes, because not everyone's going to be the same. But there is actually a spongy, softer cervix feeling and then a firmer one, and you want soft for fertility. You'll also find it slightly higher up, so you have to go even further into yourself to find it, which can be fun and really odd if your husband or partner walks in whilst you're doing it. You are going to get some funny looks, but if you're going to do this, your best bet is to wash your hands and actually weirdly sit on a toilet because you're in the right position to get access. I know, you love it when I do these videos, don't you? You're like, yay, overshare with Lisa, woo! Sorry. Next up, you want it to be open, because usually it'll be like this. But when you are ovulating, it will be a little bit like this. So you'll find there will be a dip in the center of the donut that you'll be able to pop the tip of your finger in. When it's like that, it's because it's opened up to let things in while still like killing all the germs and everything. It's pretty much a killing machine, that place. But, you know, awesome. And the next one is wet. Now that moves on to also cervical mucus, which is another guide for fertility. Not only will you have mucus, there's different kinds of mucus. I know, it's a delightful conversation. So as most of us ladies know, throughout the month, sometimes you wipe and you have vaginal discharge. Now most of the time over fertility, that is actually from your cervix. And at the beginning, before you're fully fertile, it will be thicker and creamier, and that sort of a yellowy creamy colour. If it's a different colour to that, like green or brown or grey, you might want to go visit a doctor. And if it's like cottage cheese, go to Boots and get one of those swab things to check to see if you've got a thrush. But other than that, it's generally quite normal vaginal discharge. But as your fertility increases, it will become clear, stretchy and more wet. So what you want is egg white cervical mucus, EWCM, which is the well-loved acronym on fertility boards. And it's very stretchy, and I said watery, and it's clear. And that is peak fertility 9 times out of 10. Obviously, your body could do that without you actually being fertile, but it's a very, very good way to track, and it doesn't cost you a penny. Now, big fan of things that don't cost money, but do pee on all the sticks. I've got a real problem peeing on sticks. One of the other commonly used methods to track fertility is basal body temperature, or temping. whatever you want to call it. And basically your basal body temperature is the core body temperature at the second you wake up, pretty much. And you need to take it with a basal thermometer, which is usually 2 decimal places of your temperature, because a fraction of a temperature change makes all the difference when you're tracking via temperature. So you do need a basal thermometer, but also you need to have taken it as soon as you wake up, before you get out of bed. Literally wake up as long as you've had about 3 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and then you can track it on like a fertility app. Now I have a fertility app on my phone called Period Tracker, which not only tells me when my period is due and when I am fertile, it will map that for me over a couple of months. It will also map your basal body temperature, but I haven't been doing that, but it will chart, and you'll find that as you'll get little spikes here and there, but as you ovulate, your temperature increases, and as long as your temperature is increased for like 3 days, that's a sign of ovulation, and it should stay high. Now, most people, it will drop a little bit before you ovulate, and then it will spike afterwards, and it will stay high, and it will drop again just before your period is due. And this is standard, but everyone's looks different. No one's is a perfect little line thing. It doesn't end up like that, but you will learn what is normal for you in your body. So again, these are the sort of tricks. It takes a couple of months to get the hang of it. And you can read on all sorts of boards, like Fertility Friend has got massive information on basal body temping and is incredibly helpful. And I know some people swear by it, and the only thing you're going to pay out on is your basal body thermometer, which if you're going somewhere like eBay or Amazon, doesn't cost you too much money. And I will put links to things that you can purchase in the description box below to sort of help you and maybe sort of like poke you in the direction of a site such as Fertility Friend, because it's way better at this stuff than I am. And the very last one, which is another TMI thing, is sex drive. A lot of women find their sex drive peaks massively over ovulation, and is a good indicator that you are fertile, because your body's like, come on, let's make a baby, you know you want some, and you're like, oh man, oh. So if you find yourself randomly getting a little bit wanting of affection, that's probably around your fertile time. And I've got to say, that's pretty much it for the everyday things. If I'm missing anything out, if you know a really amazing trick to figure out ovulation or whatever, do leave me a comment below, because I'm really fascinated. And I am, yeah, well, I can't say any more, but you know, my announcement might be coming soon. You never know. No, I'm not yet, don't panic. So yeah, do leave me a comment below if you have any other tips and tricks for tracking ovulation. That would be fantastic, because obviously I don't know anything. I'm just imparting a little bit of the knowledge that I have myself, and I hope some of you have found this useful. I will be doing a video about how to do at-home inseminations as well, so keep an eye open for that. And if there's any topics you would like me to cover, do let me know in the comments below, or send me a private message if you'd rather remain anonymous. And I will speak to you all soon. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye.